Okay, so you guys are translating the song He Knows My Name. So, I have a maker. What are you thinking? Just for that line. What's something that you could sign?
Or create.
Okay, so I have a maker. Okay, you said, so God made me. Anything else? Have a maker. Okay. Is there any other way that you would translate it? Say you couldn't use the sign maker, what would you do? Who are you referring to? God, okay. So you can just refer, make reference, him or he. Okay, what other synonyms could you use for maker?
Create.
Creator is pretty much the same as maker in sign language. So this is the sign create, or like invent. But if I was talking about God creating me, it would be more in the concept of like not inventing me like theoretically, but more in like the actual making. So I would still sign maker. Creator, maker. Okay. So we have, so it's I have a maker. Okay. So do you want to leave it I have maker? Or would you do kind of like how we talked about our topic and comment, and you would do maker, I have, what would you sign? Or would you sign maker? You do, I have maker.
Because if you're saying ASL, right, you want to be a little more literal.
So ASL, you're more taking the concept and you're trying to translate. So the exact concept that you come up with in English, you want to transfer that over. It doesn't matter if you use any of the same words or not, you're just trying to get the exact same concept across. So whatever's in, one way that I've heard translating is to take the essence of it and whatever is in your mind, you have to get it into the other person's mind. You don't, so you take off English, you take off ASL, whatever it is that you're translating, then you take away the other part. One of my interpreting classes, then my teacher had candy. And so what she did is that it was like wrapped individual candies. And so she said whenever you get something, let's say I'm translating from English to ASL. So it has a wrapper on it that's English. I'm going to take off the wrapper. I have just the content, just what I'm trying to get across. And I'm going to rewrap it. She had foil, and she rewrapped it, and then she put it there. And she explains, so sometimes whenever you're interpreting something, like right now, you guys have lots of time to think through just this one sentence. We could spend like 20 minutes on it. Okay, so you could go through it and you could carefully rewrap it in the foil and make it all like perfect and everything like that. Or let's say that they start this song and it's really fast paced and I'm like, I have maker and blah blah, and I'm just kind of going for it. I'm just like grabbing it, you know, maybe the wrapper's still half on, I'm sticking the English in there and like throwing it like, so it just depends on the time and how much time that you take to really unwrap it. So in the same way from ASL, if someone signs something in ASL, then I have to literally take off the ASL, the signs they used and everything, figure out what the content is, and then put that out into the English that I would say. Okay, so what's our first sentence going to be?
I think that since they don't use God directly in each of the lines, that you shouldn't say who it is.
So you should refer to God. Okay.
Yeah.
So God.
Maybe do God, He made me, so that it didn't sound like I have, like a maker.
Yes. Okay. I like that. Okay. So using your signing skills, the way that you would phrase that, how would you say that? So God, He make me. Okay. Anybody else have anything to add to that, or do you like that? Okay. So God, He made me. Okay. God, He made or make me. Okay. So, He formed my heart. So you have to decide, is this something that's meant metaphorically, or is this something that's being referred to physically? Because it can be both. You can talk about like God actually like took your heart and made it the exact shape that it is, or you can refer to He made me who I am, like the essence of who I am, my personality, my attributes, my characteristics, all these things. That could be what it's meant by heart. Okay? So what would you do for He formed my heart? Time's up.
Heart made.
Okay, so you could do heart made. Are we going to refer to who made the heart? Okay, so we said God, He made me. So my heart He made. Okay, that fits because we already clarified who's doing the acting, what the action is, and then we're clarifying further more what the action is specifically. Okay, so my heart He made. Okay, so my heart He made. So would you say my heart He made, or would you just do heart made, or heart He, or He made? What would you do? You're not going to be wrong. You can just say it. It's okay.
I would do heart made.
Heart made. Okay. Okay. Before even time began. Okay. So this time isn't referring to like your time on your watch. It's talking about the actual concept of time. And when it's that, you're going to do a T, and it goes around this way, as we talked about before. So this is the concept of time that it's referring to, before even the concept of time started. Okay? So you can totally go with the English, and you can say before time start. Okay? Or you could translate a different way. What's this really saying? Say this in different English words. Before even time began.
Before everything was created.
Okay. So you could do before creation, like before He made me. Before He made me. You could do, what else would you say?
If you say before He made me, then your life wouldn't have been already made. So next one says your life was already made. So when you
That's
just say before you counted time.
Okay, but it's still the same concept of before time. Okay. How about this? Is this referring to something like recently? Okay. If it's not recently, you could say a long time ago, like long ago. So there's a couple of ways that you can go this way. Long time ago. You can say past or before. You can do it with one hand going backwards this way. You could do it two hands going backwards this way. You can do it this way. Yeah. So there's a couple different like variations just on that sign. The concept of it being past. Okay. So what would you sign based on a couple options there? Okay. So long ago, time. Okay. So long ago time doesn't really fit. You'd have to say more like before time if you want to use time. Okay. Or you could just say a long time ago. So what one do you like for this? So you like before time? You like long time ago? Okay, what if you do both? What if you said before time, long time ago? Do you like that? Okay, let's do that. So before time, long, oops, and then we'll put a dash because we know that's one word. Okay, before time, long ago, my life was in His hands. Okay, are we actually talking about God holding something? I mean, you could be. So it could be that God's actually got it. But if we're saying, I'm giving it to your hands, I'm surrendering it, I'm, giving it to you, you're letting Him, what? Take control. Okay, so God is controlling your life, or He's taking care of it, or what?
Choose.
He's choosing. Okay. So what would you sign for that part?
Just exactly
Okay, what if you weren't allowed to use the sign hands? Okay, would you say
I would say a baby in his arms. I don't know.
Baby in his arms,
the
okay.
whole world in his arms. Everybody asked them.
Okay. So are we specifically talking about just your life? Are you talking about your person? And the thing is that this is an individual choice that you make. So the way that I would choose to sign this, I like signing the word life. So my life, like the whole concept of like all of my being, but another person could look at it and be like, who I am as a person, like who I am, he's taking care of it, or he was controlling it, or he was planning it, or he was like working it out, like organize and then cooperate. He was working it out, working it all together. So there's a lot of ways that you could like go with
Schedule.
this. Scheduling it all, planning it all. Okay.
Notice.
So what do you want to do with this one? Is there some consensus?
I had a friend who was signing I think it was a song kind of like that. The
Mhm.
concept was, I think she did a life, he took it and pressed it,
Oh,
which I thought was
like
kind of
that.
cool, like right up against his heart. I thought that was kind of cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
Going that way. Okay. So you could do my life. Okay, you could almost do kind of like it was dear to him. Like you could kind of like get that concept of like it was close to his heart. Okay. So what do you think? Do you guys want to do that one? Okay, do you want to do my life? Do you like my life? Okay. So my life is close to him like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you could do God controlled it, God was taking care of it, him, my maker, he was planning it, he was working it out. You guys could go anywhere you want with it. Okay? So, we're going to do and then what do we want to call this?
Beloved, dear.
Okay, let's do dear to heart. You guys know what that means, and that's the important part. Okay. So then we have our chorus. So he knows my name. Okay, so does God know our actual name? Okay. Does he also, by God knowing our name, does that mean he knows us so individually, he knows everything about us, he knows us personally? So you could go into a description of that, or you could actually just say, he's aware of my name, he knows what my name is. So what do you want to say?
I just like the exact.
You like the exact English? So he knows my name. Okay? Do you guys want to do with that? He knows my name. Okay. Okay. He knows my every thought. So this is a sign like thinking, or like I thought, or I think, or thinking. Or you can do thinking this way. Or you could do, so this is know, like he knows. Or you could do he understands.
How would you do it like he knows it before I say it or think it?
So you could say before thinking, he knows finish. Before thinking, Hillary knows. Do you guys like that? Okay. Good. Before thinking, he knows finish. Or you could do he finish knows. Anyway. Okay. He sees each tear that falls. So the Bible says that he's acquainted with our sorrows.
Or capture in a bottle?
A what?
A bottle.
Yeah, that he captures all of our tears in a bottle. So literally, our tears, he knows each one of them. He's taking account of them. He's acquainted with them. He knows everything. He sees
Or he
everything.
Miss it.
Yeah, he doesn't miss it. So how do you want to do that one? He sees each tear that falls. So you have like crying. So you have crying this way. You can do suffering. You could do he sees. So this would be like the sign for sees. But I would almost think you could like he's looking down, like he's watching this way. He sees this way. Or he recognizes or notices this way. You could do he knows, he's aware. You could do, or you could do a couple different things. You could do like how in I think Desert Song, then we did there was three different things. It was like weakness, trial, and pain. So you could talk about He knows my suffering, my problems, my hurt, my heartache. Like, you can describe all these different things. He knows. My heartache, my problems, my crying, my suffering. He knows it all. Okay? What would you say?
I would do like tears. He foresees them.
Oh, he foresees. Oh, I like that one too. Like foresee or predict. So my tears, he foresees. Would you add anything, or would you just leave it like that? Foresees.
I think that she added suffering.
Suffering.
I think that's implicit.
So like my suffering, my tears. So I would turn. So I would do my suffering, my tears, he foresees them. Okay? Okay, and I'm going to put a slash so you know to turn. Okay, and he hears me when I call.
Quiet little tiny.
Okay,
Or a
so
thought,
the
yeah.
concept of quiet little tiny, you could show in the sign. Okay, so let's say we did the sign call. Okay, so we learned call tonight. What's call? We call God on the phone, calling him. We call, like summon when I call for him. So I can do call this way. So instead of doing call, I could do, I'm going to call him, I call. Or I can be like, I call him, I call him. Or I could be like crying out, like I'm calling out to him, I'm crying out to him. Okay. Do I need to use the sign hears? He hears me, like actually literally hears my voice? Or what's another concept?
Notice.
Notice. Okay, if you notice. Our groanings. Okay, so like our heartaches, like the inside, like are crying out inside, I'm crying out. Okay, so you could do our groanings. What's another way that you could do hears? Okay, we talked about listen. What was the other sign that we learned tonight?
Pay attention.
Pay attention. Pay attention. So he pays attention to me. He pays attention to my groanings, my calling out, my calling on him, my summoning him. So what do you want to put that together as?
The hurting heart, or like heartbreak.
Oh, I like that one too.
It was the same friend.
That's good. Yeah,
she
no,
uses
it's
that
good.
a lot, yeah.
Some people I love because you can watch the way that they do something, and their style incorporates different things. One of the ladies at church who interprets, whenever she signs, then she does this one a lot, and I don't actually know what the actual like word is that like shows this, but it's like that intimacy, that like closeness between like you and God, like that relationship that you have going back and forth, and that like closeness of it. And I've never seen anybody else sign that one, so sometimes then I'll think about it and I'll like see her sign something like this. She was doing one, and it was really cool because like the way it kind of like brought two signs together. She was doing pay attention, and then it went here like to this closeness, and I was like, that's so cool because like he pays attention to like, and then it like blended together. I was like, man, that looks so cool. So okay, so what would you do? We'll finish up the course. Okay, what do we want to do for this part when I call on him? Are we doing calling out? Are we doing requesting or praying, or what are we doing for this word, for this concept, for this sign? Or are we doing two signs? Two signs. Okay, we have a vote for two signs. What's the first sign going to be? So when we're calling out this way, like actual like crying out to God. Okay, so calling out. And what's our other one?
Request.
Hey.
You're hitting it both on like when it's in like the deep need, and then also when you're just kind of.
Okay, so when you're, what was the other one you said?
You said requesting.
Like requesting. Okay, so you can do like you're making a request, you're asking like that, or you can do praying. It's kind of the same like connotation if you're doing it towards God, like you're asking, you're making supplication or requesting or praying. Okay, so when you're calling out, you're requesting or praying. Okay, and then what does he do? What's God's response? So when I'm calling out and I'm requesting and praying, he smiles. That would work, okay?
Pays attention.
Pays attention. What else? What's one more way you could say that? He recognizes. He understands, comprehends. He understands. Okay, so we're crying out and we're praying and requesting. He, word,
Pays attention.
pays attention and comprehends. Okay, let's do that. Cry out. What was the other one?
Requesting.
Oh, like request. He, what was it? Pays attention and comprehends. And they're probably just in the same place. Comprehend, but understand. Okay. Okay, it is 8:07. Do you guys want to finish next week, or do you want to
Next
finish?
week. Yeah.
Okay, so good, because that'll give us time to actually like go through it and practice and everything like that. So, yes. Okay, so I'm going to save this, and then this is what I want you guys to do for this week, though. I should stand up and say it. Okay, this is what I want you guys to do for next week. I want you to go through and find the next verse. So, I have a father. He calls me his own. He'll never leave me, no matter where I go. And I want you to start thinking about ways that you could do this one. A way that you could translate it yourself. Okay? So, even though we went through and we did the first verse of this one and we like agreed, kind of, whoever shouted out the answer and we went with that, the way that you would do it, he would totally use this one, and that's awesome. That's the coolest sign ever, but I never thought to use it. Or you might like this one because I showed you that and you think that's the coolest sign. Or you might just want to sign the exact English that it has and do it that way. So I want you guys to start thinking about it, like how you can sign outside of just whatever word is on here or whatever the exact concept is. Think of what the broader concept is, okay? And then next week when we come back, then we'll work on this more. And we'll actually put it together and practice it, and you guys can do your own version of it too, okay?